everyone, my name is Bethany Procopa. I am with the Kentucky Horticulture Council, and today we are in this beautiful kitchen. This is the Food Connection Kitchen on UK's campus. We are going to be talking about knife skills today. Now, I know some of this is going to be a review, but I always think it is best to review to keep yourself safe. So first of all, when you get into the kitchen, you are going to want to make sure that you put your hair up and keep it out of the way. Next, you're going to want to take off any kind of jewelry that is on your hands, wrists, neck. So I'm going to take off my watch here and place it to the side outside of food's way. I'm also going to take off my ring. Now, the only ring that is really acceptable when you are cooking in the kitchen is going to be a wedding band. That is just a plain wedding band. And then also I recommend, if you're wearing a necklace, to take that off. This is coming from someone that has burned themselves because their necklace got so hot as they were taking something out of the oven. Just warning there. So next we're going to talk about some different knives. Now, finding a knife is really important that you feel comfortable with, but the most important thing is that you use a sharp knife. I know you would think that you actually are going to cut yourself more, but that is not true. You will cut yourself more with a dull knife. So I'm going to show you. So this is a chef's knife. This is a slightly smaller one than I typically use, but this is a really nice beginner. So this is great for pretty much all kinds of cutting, chopping, slicing. Like I said, I started with a paring knife when I was younger and worked my way up to a chef's knife. So I like this one. My main one that I use is this slightly bigger one because it has a nice weight behind it. But you can use these, you can use a paring knife. The only time you would really use a serrated knife is for bread, but these are just some examples. So when you do have a knife, especially a big chef's knife like this, you're going to take your thumb and your pointer finger and you are going to grip around the base like so. Then you're going to take your other 3 fingers and wrap them around the handle like this. This is how the proper way to hold a knife. And you don't want to grip this so tightly that you can barely move. You just want to hold it as you are in control. So about a medium grip, like so. So it should feel very comfortable to you. If it feels a little bit odd right now, it'll take some getting used to, but it is what will keep you safe as you are cutting in the kitchen. So we have a variety of vegetables today that are, some would say, slightly hard to cut or odd shapes, a little bit weird. And I'm going to show you just the perfect way to cut all of these and hopefully make you feel more comfortable in the kitchen. Let's get started.
Up first, we have a bell pepper here. We're just going to chop off both ends and add those off to the side. We'll come back to those in a moment. We're going to make one cut from the top to the bottom, and then slowly we are going to use our knife to cut around the inside of the pepper. We're going to break it open a little bit, and this should be able to help you easily remove all of the seeds and the insides. We're going to stretch out the pepper, give it a nice tap to flatten it, and then we're just going to slowly start cutting these into strips. Now you could leave these as is. These are really great veggie dippers, but we're actually going to just take it one step further. So once you get all of your strips together in small sections, we are just going to turn these around, group them up in a line, and we are going to cut through them. This is just going to be a nice dice. For the top and bottom of the pepper, we are just going to slice through the same way that we did with the rest of it, but we're just going to make sure we remove the green stem as that part is not edible. For broccoli, we are going to chop off the stem, and then in a rounded motion, we are going to cut off the rest of the stem to release some of the florets. We're going to cut these into bite-sized pieces, which is usually just like an individual stem of the broccoli. When this is ready to go, you can place that off to the side, and for our stems, we're going to use a carrot peeler to take off the outermost layer. This is usually just kind of thick skin, and you want to also remove any imperfections. Once that is ready to go, we are just going to simply slice through our broccoli stem, and this is going to give you some nice round pieces or coins. These can be roasted up and used the exact same way that florets are. Sweet potatoes are one of those vegetables that I was talking about that have a wonky shape. So very carefully, we are just trying to cut this in half so that we have a flat side to put against our cutting board. We are then just going to cut this down again in slices from the top to the bottom, and you'll see that you get these thick wedges or thick slices. Now you could use those as is, but we are just going to flip them on their side, and we're going to cut through them again, and you have this nice thick potato shape. We're going to cut through those and you have a dice shape. Another way to cut a sweet potato is taking our half. We are going to flatten each side. So we are just cutting and making sure that each side is pretty flat. We could use any side to safely cut on our cutting board. So you'll see that I just have some uneven pieces and little wonky areas, and we are just cutting those off. We're cutting this into slices. And these are pretty thick slices, but we're going to stack them up on top of each other and cut through them. And then you'll have a cut here called a Bethany. And these are just simply French fry pieces. On to our carrots. So we are just simply going to use our carrot peeler from earlier, and we are just going to take off the top layer of our carrot, making sure, once again, if there are any kind of imperfections or any odd bits, we're just going to take that off. Once we get that done, I'm just going to show you the way that I typically will cut my carrots, and that is just going to be slices, the same way that we did for our broccoli. So you're just going to cut through these, and this is really great for soups, for snacks, really anything. You get these nice coins. Onto our apple, we're going to make one cut from top to bottom and then place that cut side down on the board. We're then going to just cut around the core so that we have these nice apple sizes, and we are going to take these, slice through them, and then turn those around and dice through them. So you'll have a nice sized apple dice here, and those are perfect for baking. Up next, we have some garlic here. I'm just going to pop out a few cloves, and we are going to take our clove, put our knife on top, and give it a nice pop against our cutting board. This will remove the paper from around it. We're going to cut off the woody end, and then very, very carefully, we are just going to slice through our garlic. We're looking for a mince here, so we're going to add our hand on the back of our knife, just like you see celebrity chefs do, and we're just going to run our knife through this repeatedly until we get small-sized mince. No one wants a big chunk of garlic in their recipe, so we're just going to keep doing this until we have a good size. Now, if you're wanting to make garlic paste, we are just going to add a touch of salt to our minced garlic, and we're going to repeat this process, including pushing our knife into our garlic, and this is really just going to release the oils. It's really going to mush this up together so that we get a nice garlic paste. You're just going to do this until you get your desired consistency, and it really shouldn't take too much, especially with that small pinch of salt. You might be asking yourself, why would I do this when I can just get garlic paste or minced garlic at the store? But I'm telling you, once you do this, you will taste the difference. And the bonus is that you get to use local ingredients, local garlic, and I'm telling you, once you try it, you will not want to go back. For our tomato, we're going to make a cut from top to bottom, halfway through. We're then going to make a nice triangle cut right where the stem was to get that out and any pithy areas. We're then going to make 2 horizontal cuts that don't go all the way through because we want to have a little bit of a hold at the back. We're then going to make some vertical cuts, and then we are going to turn this around and just cut through this. Now this is going to give you a nice diced tomato. Just make sure that you are using a sharp knife, because as you can see, tomatoes are a little bit hard to cut through and you will get juice all over your board. Another way to cut a tomato is going to be just simply slicing through. Now since this was cut in half and we're slicing through, we're going to have some half slices here. These are perfect for sandwiches. For our onion, we are going to cut off both ends and place those in the trash. We're going to cut our onion in half and then remove the papery skin on the outside. If there's any imperfections in an outer layer, you can just remove that layer and go on with the process. So just the same way as we did for the tomato, we are going to do 2 horizontal cuts, not all the way through, And then following the grooves of the onion, we are going to do a number of vertical cuts. This is almost going to look like a blooming onion where everything is still connected, but you have these almost slices. We are just going to cut through this and you will get a nice dice. Onto another member of the onion family, I have a green onion here that I just chopped off one end of, and then we went down and sliced it into rounds. Now I am slicing at an angle for a little bit of a different cut that is really nice for a topping or any kind of decoration on top of your meals. For fresh herbs, I have some cilantro here, and we are just going to pluck off all of the leaves that we need for this. So once you have a small mountain of leaves here, we are actually going to be making a little bit of a burrito of sorts, which I know sounds odd, but just hear me out. We are going to take our herbs and kind of roll them together until we have them contained. And then we're going to take our knife and just cut through them in slices. Now, the same way that we did with the garlic, put your hand on the back of the knife and we are going to run it through until we get a nice mince on our cilantro. This burrito method works for a lot of leafy herbs, including parsley, but also basil. So I have some basil leaves here and we are just going to tightly roll these up the same way that we did with the cilantro. The only difference is that we are only going to run our knife through and give these the slices. And this is called a chiffonade cut because you are going to end up with some type of ribbons. And these are great for topping. They just look really beautiful.
I hope you enjoyed this video and you feel a little bit more confident heading into the kitchen. These are some really great vegetable examples, and if you like videos like this or want to learn more, you can check out kyhortcouncil.org, where we have more videos, recipes, and information on things like this. If you have any requests for more videos in the future, let us know and we would love to show you. Thank you so much, guys, and enjoy!